One, two, three, two, two, three.
And
Time you do that.
we'll
Oh no, I
start it
got
up.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Every time you do that, I gotta hit the got it button.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It like says that we're recording, so it's like every episode's gonna start off with me like creepy like this. Like
Be right up in the face. I can cut off that
yes.
part at the very, very
Yeah.
beginning. But yeah.
No,
So
do it. It'll be like the R. Kelly video, like when he's practicing and stuff.
I don't know that we want to be putting ourselves in the.
I just wanted to start. No, I just wanted to start off having a little fun.
All right, so we're chilling. Oh, I'm chilling in the closet recording studio. You got the basement recording studio, I guess. The this week's episode is on I'll Be There For You, Method Man, Mary J, and A Case of You by Joni Mitchell, which are as always two really great songs. So give me a little bit about the Method Man song. Let's start us out and see what we got.
Well, I mean, and I say this all the time, and I've posted this song many a time on social medias as an adult male, and I usually post it around Valentine's Day, and here's why. It's the greatest hip-hop love song ever, and it is the song of all the hip-hop love songs, this is the song that makes it cool to love a woman.
Oh, cool.
In hip-hop. Like, it's the coolest of the songs. It's the best, but it's the coolest one, too.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, it's the coolest one, too. That's part of the effect and the appeal. So,
right, like, because you want to be like that, right? I mean, you want to have a relationship that's like the one he's describing. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
No, not even necessarily the relationship that you want to. Like, that is very insightful that you even went there with it. Not even the relationship necessarily that you want to have, but the relationship that you're most likely going to have as a black man dealing with a black woman in love in this inner city angst and circumstance. And so it's an accurate depiction of that. I've spoken plenty of times about how the visual aid of this video is key, because it's going through a day of him essentially being on the run from the police. You know. But the the story starts off like with him leaving his girl's crib.
Like in the video.
The video, yeah. And the mom is tripping, telling the girl how he's not going to be nothing. And he's leaving the house. And the whole scene is that, you know, the cops are chasing him. He's not the one that actually committed the crime. He's actually not the bad guy, but he's being perceived as the bad guy the same way mom perceived him as the bad guy to start off the video. So the perception of him being the bad guy with mom in the house and then outside in the streets with the police. And so it's it's some James Dean going on. Yeah. He's the rebel. But he's the rebel in love with the girl, you know? And this is how the rebel loves the girl where we're from, you know? And this is the accurate depiction of that, you know? Even when the skies were gray, you would rub me on my back and say, baby, it's going to be okay. And that's real to a brother like me, baby. Yeah.
I love that so much. Like, it's
like
as not obviously in my lived experience, because I did not grow up in that world, but one of the great things about this song for me, especially listening to you talk about it, is that it helps me not experience it, but like I can see that lens, right? Like it helps me understand what it's like, sort of. Not like I can't, because obviously I cannot experience that. So it's like reading a great book or something like that.
It's secondhand, it's secondhand smoke, Andrew. You're vicariously experiencing it, like you know secondhand. You know that you can't experience it, but you're intelligent, you're articulate. So is the artist delivering the message, and so you're able to connect with it vicariously, even though not necessarily your circumstance. And here, and you want to know why that is? And I literally just thought of this while you were speaking.
Yeah, what's up?
This is the style of record. Listen to what I'm about to say. That the beauty of it is in the simplicity, very comparable to all the great Beatles records.
Yeah, I can get behind that.
You get what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
like, no. The message actually can be deeper, but just the surface level of the message isn't that complicated. It's super groovy.
Oh yeah.
It's catchy. You understand what's going on, and it makes you feel something. Doesn't that sound like Beatles records to you?
It sounds exactly like Beatles records, yeah.
And so this song is that, even though it's a Marvin Gaye and Tammy Terrell remake, the beauty of it is in the simplicity, like a lot of great Beatles records.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, all you need is love, right? I mean, it's the same kind of phrase, right? I mean, you're all I need to get by. Like, it's the same idea.
Yes. And this is, and also too, to the remake portion of it, this is them updating the formula. You know, Black Love in the 90s is a little bit more off-putting and tenuous and dysfunctional in the 90s than it is in the 70s. And so that love that Tammy Terrell and Marvin Gaye are speaking to, that love still exists, but it has kind of born a different existence. And some of those things about that love have been stripped down and taken away from the fabric of our society.
Yeah, there's pain in that record, in both of them. But like, I mean, anything that Marvin Gaye sings, there's pain in. I mean, like that's just how his voice works. But that record is smooth as hell. Like the one, it's smooth. And this one is beautiful. The method when Mary J it's a little more jarring. It's got that synthesizer riff that is going. I don't have a piano in here to play it, but like it's going where she's singing the Tammy Terrell part, like going down half steps. You're all I need to get by. I'm not going to try to sing Mary J. I'm going to embarrass myself. But like, but the synthesizer or theremin or whatever it is that's being played is going kind of in the opposite direction that she's singing, and it kind of mirrors the disjointed that you're explaining anyway.
So
it's not a thing that I noticed until now, but I mean it does that.
Well, the RZA, who is the author of 2 of the 3 versions of this track, and when I'm referencing this track, I'm specifically referencing his Razor Sharp remix, which the video accompanied. I'm not referencing the Puff Daddy version that got played on the radio, and I'm not referencing the original version on Tikal. I'm referencing Razor Sharp remix with that synth that you're talking about. And so here's the thing that's even beautiful about this record, and you and I spoke about this behind the scenes. Well, you're going to be hard pressed in 1995 to find artists in these genres that are respected for their realness and their grittiness, the way Method Man and Mary are. Okay. And so Marvin and Tammy were loved because of their chemistry and for the beauty of their voices. Meth and Mary are kind of loved for the pain that they bring. Literally, in Method Man's case, the first single off Tikal is called "Bring the Pain."
That's what I thought. Okay, yeah.
The song that propelled him into stardom is a hardcore rap song called "Bring the Pain." Tikal went platinum. Tikal was a platinum album before this song dropped, mostly because of "Bring the Pain."
Okay. Mary
J. Blige, more than any other artist in modern day R&B times, the pain in her voice is what resonates. It is not and I've said this to anybody that wants to hear it, is that like, well, on her best day, she can't do Mariah and Whitney's runs. Like on her best day, she can't do like Mariah and Whitney.
They're on a whole different.
God bless Whitney's soul. Mariah wakes up and does runs when her throat is craggy that Mary can't do. But Mary makes you feel something that Mariah on her best day and her most painful moment will never make you feel. And so let's go to the hook, because there's a different contrast, because Tammy was somebody who was in a relationship with David Ruffin, who was physically abusive to her and psychologically abusive to her. Yes, David Ruffin from the Temptations, who arguably has the greatest voice of all time.
He has an extraordinary voice. That's unreal.
I mean, if we're talking, vocally, he's the male Whitney Houston to me vocally.
Okay.
Like on personal opinion, if we're talking about give me one guy's voice, give me that guy's voice and talent and gift that he totally blew. And
can sing anything kind of guy.
Can sing anything kind of guy. Yeah. And hadn't even really touched his potential, really. It's really sad. But, she was somebody that you didn't even know all of that was going on with Tammy, because her voice was so beautiful and it gave such a beautiful feeling and emotion off. When Mary is coming in singing these same words, you almost feel a resignation to it that speaks to the tenuous nature and dysfunctionality. Like when she's singing over that synthesizer, and it was plain to see, you are my destiny. She's saying it almost like it's almost bittersweet, Andrew. You know, it's not all sweet and happy like the first version. It's like, no, this is where we're at, so this is what it is too. And there's that part of Black love that's tenuous in modern day times that is like specifically applicable. And just her, when that song is starting off before the beat drops, encapsulates that feeling. So the record is special before he even ever raps.
Yes,
and he's super special on the record. He's super special on the record.
Yeah, he's
the
very
record
good.
Is special before he raps. Yeah. It's a tour de force. I mean, it is one of the few rap songs that I say is clearly in the argument for best rap song ever made. And there are not a lot of rap songs like that that deserve to be held in the conversation. But when I talk about Fight the Power, or Nothing But a G Thing, or Dear Mama, or Cream, like this is one More Chance remix with Big. Like this is one of those records. Wow. Award Tour by Tribe Called Quest. They Reminisce Over You by Pete Rock and CL Smooth. This is one of those records.
It's top level.
It's at the very, very top of the level. And here's the thing about it. It's one of the few hip hop records that's one of the greatest records of all time that's on the high level on every spectrum, as in lyrically high, as in production high, visual aid high, record sales high, hit making high, artist star power high. It's one of those 10 of 10 across the board. Yeah. Guest performances high, hook high. Like, what do you want out of a hip hop record? This record provides you with some of those things. Oh, you need a hit? This record is a hit. You want it to be gritty? No, it's that too. You want star power? You got Meth and Mary. What do you want? You want the beat?
But it also connects to previous generations too, because it's a Marvin and Tammy song, right? Like, so people would have recognized that, I would assume. Like,
my aunt recognized it the first time it came on when she heard it. She said, "Oh, they took the Marvin Tammy record." Oh, yeah, I can remember riding in the car with my aunt on West Boulevard when she heard it, and her dad's Caprice going to the corner store, and she was like, "Oh, they took the Marvin Tammy record, huh?" Okay, I see what y'all doing, right? Yeah. So it's one of those things too. That's what I mean. There's nothing missing about the record. And so and here's what I mean about what makes it special, even in the vein of all the other great all-time hip hop records.
Yeah.
And listen to me when I say this. This is the only love song that's an all-time great hip hop song.
Oh, wow.
It's the only love song that's in the canon of those songs. All the other songs speak to a theme, speak to a moment, or speak to the MC. This moment speaks to love. It's the only all-time hip hop great. It's the only all-time great hip hop song where the message is specifically love.
Yeah.
It's the only one. It's the only one. Cream's not about love. Nothing But a G Thing's not about love. Fight the Power is not about the love, even though you love your black people. Like, no, this song is about love. One More Chance isn't about love. It's actually not. It's very
Dear Mama is the closest one on that list to that. That's a different Mama, kind of love, right? I mean, like,
it has the feeling and the emotion of love there because he loves his mama. But even that is a struggle song.
Yeah,
that is more in line. Dear Mama's more a struggle song that is closer to Fight the Power and the angst involved than
it is.
I'll Be There For You in terms of the love felt.
Right.
Because listen to what he's saying.
All I was saying is, like, that's the closest of the list.
Yes. No, it is. It is. But even when you go to that, it's like, that's what I'm saying. And even as a crack fiend mama,
right,
you always was a black. Even though I act crazy, I got to thank the Lord that you made, man. There are no words that can express how I feel. You never kept a secret. Always stayed real. That's painful shit. That's not. That's the.
And that whole song is too. Like, and we'll have a whole nother episode on that song. Like that's like you said, it's a super important song. But
no, how about this? Like, when I think of the greatest rap songs of all time, the only songs that I think in my mind clearly that stay in my head above I'll Be There For You off the top of my head are Dear Mama and Cream and Fight the Power. That's how special I'll Be There For You is.
So top 5.
In my opinion, yes, top 5. I would probably place it at 5th if I'm thinking about it accurately. I would put Cream Fight the Power, and Dear Mama ahead of it. Those are the only 3 songs clearly that I could think of that deserve to be ahead of it. So it's saying a lot about that record. Because listen to the songs I just named.
Yeah, that's intense.
That's the rarest of air.
That's
and also, I want to say, too, if you'll notice something, who's the guy singing the hook, the cream?
Meth, too, right.
Yeah, this guy is
so
special.
He's got 2 of the top 5, right? Or in 2 of the top
special.
5.
Yeah, this guy's special. Yeah, this guy's special. Mm.
I want to circle back around a little bit to something that you said earlier about the pain and You're All I Need to Get By, like the resignation in it. It's almost like I'm trying to say back to you what you said and see if I can put a little make sure I'm understanding correctly. It's almost like she's saying, I know the words that are coming out of her mouth are not "you all I have to get by," like you're the only thing that I have to get by, but it seems like that's what she's saying, like the kind of conventional content of it.
This is one of those, well, it's not what you do, it's how you do it and who's doing it. And so Mary, pun intended, brings the pain when she sings. Yeah. And so these same loving words that Tammy's singing 20 years before, it sounds more painful when Mary is saying the same words, because Mary is speaking about it from the tenuous and dysfunctional place too. Tammy's singing it from that loving place. Mary's singing from a tenuous place.
I
vocally.
See what you're saying, yeah.
Yes. So it's one of those, and I think we're going to get into this stylistically with Joni Mitchell about some things that maybe I'm about to say about her record is that vocally Mary is doing something on this track that you really have to pay attention to catch kind of what Joni's doing vocally. It's like, oh no, you'll miss it if you're not paying attention.
Because if you're not paying close attention to the Mary record, to the Mary part, like she's just singing the same thing over and over. You could say that, right? But she's not.
But listen to her though. Yeah. You're saying, like, listen to Joni's voice on that record and what she's getting away with because of vocally what she's doing. Well, look at the emotion in the because here's what I'm saying is that Mary's voice actually sets you up emotionally to feel what you feel before Meth ever raps, and you don't even really realize it unless you're paying attention. You know, you're too busy. You're wrapped in the moment. It's Meth, it's Mary. They're taking the Marvin and Tammy sample. They're on the rooftop together in the blue light in the video, bobbing their head. Like, you're lost. You're missing. It's like, oh no, she's setting you up for that Black Love is tenuous moment. Like, you're there. You're there, and you don't even know that you're there. That's the mark of greatness too. She putting you somewhere and you don't even know that you're there. Then you can look back on it and be like, oh, that's Mary that set that off. Yeah. Because the record, like, because in my mind, every time I think about that record, I think about that synth. And I think about like spring morning dew. It's eerie almost how she's singing. And
because it's kind of, and the synth thing is wavering too. That's what, I don't know if it's really a synth or a theremin. You know what a theremin is? Like, it's the little thing where you have to hold the little 2 sticks beside things.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I didn't know what it was called,
and it makes that kind of woo sound, right? And I don't know if that's actually what they're using or they're using a synthesizer to do it, but the notes are wavering too, which highlights the pain and the shakiness and all of the other things that you were just saying.
So the RZA is the producer of this record. Nobody's better at doing the eerie and the off-kilter in the history of rap than this guy. So when you apply his eerie and off-kilter and off-beat stuff, like, this is a guy, like, and he does this with Method Man specifically. There's a record on Liquid Swords by the GZA called Shadowboxing. Yeah. And Method Man has the first verse and the third verse. But what people forget about that record is that the RZA switches the beat pattern because the pace that Method Man is rhyming at on the first verse, and then what GZA's rapping at on the second verse, and then where Meth switches again is rapping at a different pace than he's even rapping at on the first verse, the RZA literally distorts the beat with scratches and changes the pace of it 3 separate times within one song. So we're talking about a guy
that's incredibly skillful.
That's incredibly skillful at the subtle things and contorting things. So what you're hearing with that synth, oh, no. He's playing with Mary's voice with the synth. That's intentional. Like, if another producer was doing that, I'd be like, oh, no. Good luck moment. No. That off-kilterness that you're hearing, intentional. Because Mary's voice is not always polished and off-kilter, but painful. He's tapping into something. and he's the best at that as a hip hop producer.
Yeah, both of those riffs, what she's singing, they call it chromatic scale. They're going down half steps.
Yes,
You're all I need to get by. Okay.
Yep.
It's going down half steps, and I wish I had written down like what the notes were that he was playing on the synth, but they're dissonant. Like they're not notes that you would expect. Either piece of it. So
it's choppy.
It adds to the effect. And the dissonance adds to the effect, and the shaking. So, like all of the production that, like, I didn't know all the things that you have said. So, like, now I'm taking that back to what I heard in just the music part of it, and not the rapping part of it, but like not that that's not music. That's a horrible, like the melodic part, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
That those pieces all match, right? They all go with it. They're all intentional. And like I knew, obviously, I know they're great musicians and they're great artists, and clearly it's intentional. But I now, because of what you've said, have words to understand how it's intentional, and like what they're trying to achieve.
So the dissonance that you're speaking of, that's the most intentional part about it. That's where his genius as a producer come in, because he does the sparse and the abstract and the dissonance on purpose to give the artist space to breathe and to get that shit out. Like he does that on purpose intentionally with his tracks. That's why I was speaking to Shadowboxing with Method Man. It's like, no. He's played this game before. He freaks the beat often. Specifically with this guy, because this guy is called Method Man. He's called Method Man because he has very many methods and styles to how he flips his shit. He's the Method Man. Right.
See, I'm learning all kinds of stuff in this episode. This is great.
Yeah, many methods to his style. He's the Method Man. METHOD.
I do know that song.
Yeah, that's where it comes from. But that's why they call him the Method Man. He has many methods and styles and ways that he approaches things rhyme wise, and he's ahead of his time, because how he approaches rhyme scheme and rhyme pattern and rhyming when you first hear him in 1993 is groundbreaking. He's one of the groundbreaking guys. Him and Biggie specifically with their pattern of delivery. No, nobody ever rapped like that before them. That's why I be saying it's like, if you hear somebody say, oh, well, he raps like Biggie or he raps like Method Man, it's like, well, understand nobody did before.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
special guy. Special guy, special song. One of the best voices ever.
Oh, yeah. The voices. We've talked about this in all the other. I mean, we've talked about Meth, actually.
The voice is
specifically,
epic.
The voice is like, is like even I who was not raised in this world, in the hip hop world necessarily, even before we started doing this, I recognized his voice instantly. Like this is, we had not talked about Cream before that episode, and like I did not do really any research on that. I mean, I just wrote down some of the stuff that I noticed, but like even I knew that was him. Like
he's Mick Jagger in a sense.
Yeah, he's
got like, that. Oh, you don't gotta know the music to know the voice. You know who that is. Like everybody on this side of things, Andrew, when Mick Jagger's singing, we know who Mick Jagger is. Like we know who that is.
Yeah, Mick Jagger's got a very, very distinct voice.
Right, we know who Mick Jagger is when he comes on. Right, same thing with Method Man. He's a Mick Jagger of this.
Cool.
Yeah, vocally when he comes on, it's like, oh, I already know who that is. Even if you don't listen to his music, I know who that is.
Yeah, if you've never heard the song before, you're like, that's
Mick.
Him.
Yeah. Even if, like, that's what I mean. Even if you're not a fan of the music, I told you about that time that I was taking that run. I had the rental car. I had to take my car to the dealership. I had the rental car. It was on the Rolling Stones XM radio, and I just rolled it for like 2 days. I heard so much Stone shit that I had never heard before. But guess what?
There's a ton.
No, there is a ton. There's 2 days worth of me for me to listen to. I want people to understand that. But every record that came on, I was like, oh, that's Mick though.
Yeah.
And I knew who it was, even if I didn't know the record, because I'm so acquainted with the voice, because the voice is part of this culture. Like I know Paul McCartney's voice like that too, Andrew. I know not John Lennon's because he passed, but I know Paul McCartney's voice like that too. Every time Paul McCartney comes on, I know exactly who that is, like every single time. So that would be the Method Man Biggie comparison. I would say like Paul and Mick, like the distinctive voices of their era.
Yeah, we'll get into Lennon and McCartney more, and there's a couple episodes later we'll do another Beatles episode, but original, like in their early days, they sounded much more similar than they did Lennon and McCartney did. They were harder to tell apart in like the early 60s. That by the time you got to like their Strawberry Fields and Let It Be's of the world, they were much more distinct.
That's distinctive voices. By then. Yeah, it's distinctive by then.
I mean, and part of that is because when they were doing those first songs, they were like 22, 23, and they were like close to 30 by the time the band broke up.
Yeah, so. All this hadn't came through yet. Yeah, that happens too.
So now Joni Mitchell's voice. We'll kind of transition here a little bit, if that's cool.
No, let's get to it.
Okay,
because the voice is super special.
Yeah.
No. It's more special than I even realized. She's the main reason I went. But remember, I was telling you I put all our stuff back on play again.
Yep.
She was the main reason why. And while we're talking about voices, I would say outside of Method Man, her voice was the voice that resonated the most in terms of it was like, man, I was like, it's something different.
It is different. Yeah, that's what that's my first reaction to hearing Joni Mitchell's voice. It's higher than most popular singers, like folk singers anyway. It cuts through in a way, and it's not powerful. I mean, it is powerful, but it's not like full voiced, like in your face, like a Janis Joplin or a Stevie Nicks or those kind of people. But it does cut through in a way that very few people's voices do. And it is one of those voices that you hear and you're like, oh, that's Joni Mitchell. Like it's a pretty distinct one too.
So guess who I thought about vocally as a hip hop artist when I thought about her voice?
Huh? Who?
So listen to this. Her voice to me is very sharp.
It is.
And very precise.
That is true.
And very crisp. And very clear.
It is all of those things.
I thought of Nas.
Huh.
Because when I think of his voice, because let me tell you what I thought about his voice. I always looked at his voice where it's like, you got the guys, like the guys before him, like KRS-One and Chuck D. They're booming over the track.
Yeah, they are.
And then you got guys like Method Man and Big, who are his contemporaries, that are velvety on the track and just molasses on the track. And it just sounds brilliant and so smooth. He was always the guy that was kind of like, you know how, remember the old sewing machines, how the old sewing machines through everything? That's what his voice was to me, and that's what her voice is to me. It's that just cutting through everything like a sewing needle does with precision. You know how a sewing needle through it, and it gets the job done, and it's clear, and it's crisp, and it's concise, and it's precise. Sewing needle voice. Nas, Joni Mitchell, like clear and precise to the point. Because here's the thing. I realized this about both of them. They both get away with a lot as songwriters because what they are saying is so clear to be understood that it makes you actually question, did they just say that? They didn't just say that, did they? Hold on.
Yeah,
it's the clarity.
And it's interesting, like you're like, did this tiny little white lady just say what? Like, yeah, I mean, it's that kind of thing. I would put her as one of the greatest. I don't want to say she's not a great songwriter. She is a great songwriter, but like as far as like pure lyricists, she's in the top tier. She's up there with like Dylan and with Paul Simon and people like that.
I'm more impressed by her, and I'm going to tell you why. And this is where the Nas comparison comes back in again too. It's the never-ending dual-edged meanings of the things that she says that you can pull from.
Oh yeah, there's tons of that, and we'll get into that more specifically. Yeah.
And I'm not super acquainted, but Dylan and Paul Simon don't have it like that. has writers? Do they? Maybe Dylan? I'm not as heavy into Paul Simon stuff, but not like that though, Andrew. Or am I wrong? I mean, just like, tell me, because I can break down this whole song, and I can give you 3 different interpretations of what she may be feeling.
Yeah, at least, right? I mean, there's lots of, and that fits. And I don't want to go off too much into a sidebar, because we'll do separate. We've done Dylan already, and I'm sure we'll end up back with Dylan, because Dylan's got a whole 50-year career full of stuff, and Paul Simon. We'll do one. I have scheduled to do at least one of his. The song The Boxer.
I'm familiar.
Is Paul Simon, or Simon and Garfunkel.
Okay, that's okay.
But they're both storytellers, and one of the geniuses of Joni Mitchell, and one of the reasons that you can have 3 different interpretations for the song, at least A Case of You, is that the emotional experience that she's going through in the song is complicated, right? Like it's from the perspective of someone who is probably at the end of a relationship, and it's kind of falling apart. Historians say that it's about her relationship with Graham Nash, who was another folk artist from the 60s, and that relationship ended about the time she was writing both the song and the whole album called Blue. But it's a love song, but it's not a love song. It's there's some fuck yous in there. There's some I love you stills in there. There's all of that, and we've all experienced breakups, right? So we know they're at the end of relationships. There's all of those different emotions happening at once.
Right. So I think when I hear this record, and this all just came to me just now while you were talking, because you and I, we go back quite some time to our formative years.
Yep.
And when you were saying all this, you want to know what this record is?
What?
This record is, and this is the beauty about Joni. I could see Rihanna remaking this record. Okay.
Okay.
I could see Rihanna remaking this record successfully.
Mm-hmm.
But I could also see that if something like Kate Chopin's The Awakening were to be made into a video or made for TV movie, I could see this song being the theme music for Edna Pontellier.
Yep, it is very much that. Yeah.
So it could be. So I want people to understand. Oh, this could belong. So this could be theme music for The Awakening by Kate Chopin. And if you know what that book is in the canon of literature, which you and I know, we can Ian Kuttner for that. Right.
Yep.
What up, Kuttner?
Shout out.
Aren't you friends with Kuttner still?
Yeah.
Sing Kuttner this.
I will. Shout out.
Him, hey, I'll never remember. I wrote a poem about domestic violence, and I sketched a handout, and I wrote a poem about domestic violence. And he read it to the class. And I was like, yo, this dude's different.
He is different.
This little white dude that graduated top of his class in Cornell is reading my poem about domestic violence in the projects to kids at West Charlotte. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting down with this white dude.
Yeah,
I don't care what people say about him.
He's a great teacher.
No, he's a special dude. I know special people when I meet him. You know what I'm saying? But that's who Joni Mitchell is. In terms of her brilliance as a writer, that's no, that's something that Rihanna could take and riff off of, but that's also something that you could take and flip from The Awakening by Kate Chopin. It's got layers, it's got levels, it's got the whole spectrum, and that's what I mean when I say it's I don't know if Paul Simon and Bob Dylan provide that, Andrew. I don't know if they provide that, because even when she's talking about I could drink a case of you, you want to know what I really thought about?
What?
It's you were talking about how it could be a representation of how weak he is as a man. But then I was thinking, but that could be how tired and immune she is to his bullshit as a woman too.
Yep. It could be all of those things.
Has I been taking this shit for so long? It's I should be drunk, but I'm not. It's not because you're weak. It's because I'm strong. You can take it. Can be
cuts both of those ways. Yes, exactly.
It cuts both of those ways immediately. And so
for those of you who don't know the whole lyric there, the I guess chorus or the how she ends each of the verses is I could drink a case of you and still be on my feet.
My feet. But hold on. But also, too, that could speak to the oppression of, because she could be saying, like, I have to deal with all this oppressive ass bullshit in this relationship and still go, like, make your meal and clean this house or tend to the kids, like, be on my feet. Right. So there's so many ways to take it. It's like, oh, I don't know if she's like on her like hippie burn the bra shit right there. Or you feel me?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
So there's so many ways to take it, and there's so many things that she's speaking to with these sentiments, and these sentiments are not being they're not being edified in a complicated way. She's being very straightforward with you. She's being very shady. She's being very shady, and she's getting away with being shady because she has a great crisp voice.
Yeah, but like that last verse of the song, I wrote down these lyrics, and then I can't find my paper now, so I'm going to
cool.
I'm going to badly paraphrase it. It says something like, I talked to a woman who had a mouth like yours, which my impression is that means like a family member of his, right? Like whose face looks like his. And
or it could be saying, you complaining like a little bitch.
It could be. And she says like this other person's told her that like, go to him and be with him if you can, but be prepared to bleed. Like that's like that other person told. And like, if you think about that as coming from like a family member of his, that's cold.
Gossip.
Yeah.
It's also gossip. So it's like, hold on. So let's go back to the dysfunctionality and the tenuous nature of things that we expressed, that Mary was expressing, like vocally. Joni is expressing them figuratively and literally, not vocally. She's literally saying like, your family member told me you was a little screwed up in the head. Yeah, they did. I ignored her because I loved you, but I remember when she told me that you was messed up in the head at the barbecue. You know, so that's right. That's her. That's what I mean when it's like she's shady on here too. She's like, don't be like, that's her. And that's also her way of saying, like, don't you act like it's just me. Like, I remember when your family member told me that you.
You don't call me crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm not crazy.
Don't call me crazy. I talked to your family. They called you crazy too.
They
you better not.
They've known you your whole life. Yeah.
Like, right. That's her way of saying, you better watch your tongue.
Yeah. I mean, like the song starts with one of the greatest burns and it's told in this like sweet little soprano voice, but she says, like, just before our love got lost, you said, I'm as constant, like she's quoting him back to him. Like, I'm as constant. You said that you were as constant as the northern star. And I said, constantly in, what do you mean? Like constantly in the darkness? Like, if you need me, I'll be down in the bar. Like, she's like, that's another one of those, I'm tired of yours. I'm out. Like,
those are gang signs.
You have your little quotable moments yourself. I'm going to go down here.
If you're in a relationship, those are gang signs that your relationship's about to end. All right, those are gang signs.
Yep. And then she goes down to but the other half of this is like she goes down to the bar, and the end of that verse is like she's sitting at the bar with like the blue light. There's a blue, it actually matches, right? And the blue light with the other video. And the whole album's called Blue, if you want to get right down to it. She's sitting there. She's sitting down at the bar with the blue TV light on her face, and she's drawing, like doodling on the back of coasters or whatever. And she's an artist. I mean, she's like a painter artist too. We'll get to that in a second. Right. But she says something like she's drawing a map of Canada on the back of the coaster. She's Canadian. And she says like she looks down and she's drawn like a picture of his face twice in the map. Okay, so he's still like part of her and in there.
Right, but also too, but you want to know what else she's expressing too? Like, she's expressing that she's kind of like fair game and vulnerable too. As in, like, I would rather be at the bar being hit on by strangers and drawing pictures of you and potentially going home with them than putting up with your shit any longer. That's what I mean. So there's a whole lot of depth in what she's not saying by just her as a woman who is in a relationship saying, this is this woman in this committed relationship going to the bar instead of talking to you, which means we're not that committed anymore.
Exactly.
Got to read between the lines. That's what I'm saying. Those are all types of gang signs.
Yep.
She's pretty much saying like, I'm claiming sets out here, and like you're not the set I'm claiming anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I'm done with you.
And she, I mean,
she's
she's a painter too. I mean, you see the like the art in her lyrics.
Yeah.
But she is a painter too. She said she was like she said in interviews that she was like a sidetracked painter, basically, that got kind of rerouted into this music thing. But she considers herself a painter. I mean, she says it in the second verse of the song too. She says, "I'm a lonely painter. I live in a box of paints." But she also says, you know, I'm frightened by the devil, but I'm drawn to those who ain't afraid. Like, so she's admitting like this relationship probably isn't good for me. Like I'm drawn to those who aren't afraid of, like, but like I know this is not good, but it's still like
she likes the bad guys.
Like I can't help it.
Yeah, she needs some therapy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as do we all. Yeah.
He never lied.
So yeah, it's such an amazing song, because it captures somebody going through that.
Her range of emotions. Yes, the range of emotions is what makes this record beautiful.
And so, like you were saying, like with Rihanna and Kate Chopin and all those people, like it's you can read. It's one of those songs that is super specific, like to what what happened to her or the character, I guess. And I don't know that it actually happened to her, but it is general enough that everybody can read their experiences. Not everybody, but most people can read their experiences into it. Like you can say, "Oh, I've felt like that way."
I mean, you're gonna be hard pressed, Andrew, to find a grown ass woman who is around our age bracket, that has not felt unloved in a relationship.
Oh yeah,
disregarded, oppressed, neglected,
all of the above,
dysfunctional, with a guy who was no good, with a guy like so she is speaking to a range of emotions that, quite frankly, it is easy for women to gravitate towards, but also too for us as men. Like if you're actually listening to it, there's so many ways for us to look at this record. It's like she's almost one of those people that it's like, if you walk in your house and your wife is playing Joni Mitchell, you need to fix that shit.
Yes.
You need to fix that shit.
Yeah, you can think of it as like beautiful music, but you can also like,
yeah, you can be like, hold on, wait,
let me make sure that we're all that our relationship is not like this.
Like if she's playing Joni Mitchell and y'all just went out the night before and had a wonderful night of sex, like totally healthy. But if y'all haven't connected for the last 3 or 4 days, you feel what I'm saying? And things have been a little tense in the home. You've been spending a little too much time with the kids instead of with each other. And Joni Mitchell starts playing. That's a whole nother vibe.
Yep.
And she has that range of emotions. And so that's a high skill level.
Yeah. She's
she can
tremendously.
Yeah, she can. She can affect your home. Yes, she can. I was thinking about this record. I was like, man, this type of record that can affect your home. This record can affect your home.
Or it can give you. It also gives you insight. Like it is.
That's how it can affect your home.
Yeah, exactly. Like it helps you understand, right? Or helps me understand. Like even like I'm not. This is.
Don't you feel like an asshole as a man after you listen to this record, even if you haven't been an asshole? Like just the artist in you. Doesn't the artist in you feel like an asshole a little bit? It's like, I know I didn't do it, but kind of. Maybe, like, I don't know what he did. And you start thinking, it's like, what did he do? It's like, did he take 2 down in 1 week? Like, what did he do? Did he not call for like, what did he do?
There's something for sure.
She sends you through some range of emotions as a man.
There is an inciting incident involved in this.
Yes. You get the feeling as a man. It's like, what did this MFer do to set her off? Like, oh my God, like, what did he do? Be like, you want to know? He did a few things. Yeah, he did.
I mean, yeah, sure. No, this is definitely a song where she is narrating like the building up of emotions, right? Like this has been going on a while, but then there was a thing, right? So I'm going to try to articulate something else about how she sings this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it successfully, because to do it properly, I would have to like sing what she sings, and I'm not even going to come close to trying to sing Joni Mitchell's voice. My voice is probably about as far from Joni Mitchell's as you can possibly get. So, but she sings "I could drink a case of you and still be on my feet" 3 times in the song. The first time she sings it straight, like "I could drink a case of you and still be on." I like it's pretty like low key.
Hey, I'm going to pause here and put in the actual runs that Joni sings because I want you to hear them, and the argument doesn't make as much sense without it. And to avoid copyright, I had my friend Sarah Gray sing them instead. Shout out Sarah Gray.
Oh, I could drink a case of you, darling, and I would still be on my feet. Oh, I would still be on my feet.
The second time she like goes way up and way down. It's just, and I promise you, I'm not going to embarrass myself and try to sing Joni Mitchell. But like, I may like pause the video and like put the few notes in there. But she goes like way up and way down. It's kind of releasing some of that frustration, sort of.
So this is the second one.
Oh, I could drink a case of you, darling. Still I'd be on my feet. I would still be on my feet.
And then the last time she goes straight up.
Oh, I could drink a case of you, darling. Still I'd be on my feet. I would still be on my feet.
It always struck me as like she's releasing something through those 3 things.
Like
she's
like kind of cathartic to you?
Yeah, there's some catharsis involved. It also, I mean, if you want to, I mean, again, this is one of the ways you can read it many different ways. This could be like, I'm getting more drunk, right? I mean, it does that too. Right. So it could be either. It could be both. It could. It doesn't. I don't know that I'm articulating it right without hearing the music too, but
no, I think you're doing fine. Yeah, you're doing fine.
But that's a thing that I've noticed as well. And even like in the last, let's see, she says like, "You're in my blood like holy wine."
Yeah,
you taste so bitter and so sweet, something like that.
Yeah.
She says that twice, but then the last time she switches it a little bit. She says,
it's choppy.
It is choppier, but she does it syncopated too. You're right. But she also is, instead of saying, "You're in my blood like holy wine, you're so bitter," I think the first time she says, "It's so bitter and so sweet," and then the last time she says, "You're so bitter," and breaks the line there, and then she says, "So bitter and so sweet." Like
that was the intention.
Yeah. Oh, it's absolutely on purpose.
Totally intentional.
Where she's putting the phrase "you're so bitter" by itself, but then you're so bitter and so sweet, right? You're both of these things, right? You're not just.
So what you're saying is that like vocally and writing wise, she is breaking up as the song is going along because the song is about breaking up.
Yeah.
In terms of how she is literally, I mean, what would be the technical musical term for making her vocals choppy? Would you say
syncopated? Yeah.
Syncopated? Would that be
syncopated? Is staccato is the word you're looking for.
Staccato is the word I'm looking for.
But syncopated is like it's offbeat, like intentionally singing at the offbeat.
No.
She does that too, though.
No, she does both of these things intentionally on this record. No, I caught those things because the third verse is succinctly different stylistically and format-wise, even though the verbiage is the same.
Right.
And so if you're a lover of music, and we are, and we've both been artists and musicians, so we catch those things, it's like the third verse, everything that you're saying, because even vocally, I feel like she's fluttering more.
Yeah, she is.
Like she's
absolutely.
more in falsetto. She's more in that falsetto mode of just like literally fluttering everywhere, almost like emotionally. She's fluttering everywhere.
Yeah, that last time she sings A Case of You, she's like, do woo, like I can't do it, but like she just goes straight up and slides around.
I don't know if Michael Jackson or Prince can do that. That falsetto,
right.
some of these falsettos that she's hitting is nuts. Let's let that be stated too.
Yeah.
Like some of her falsetto notes are nuts. And it's like, and I want to say this too. This is like style points thing. She is hitting some of these notes with ease, and you can tell.
Yeah.
She's not trying to hit these notes very hard. She's super gifted.
Yeah. She's
vocally talented.
Remarkable.
Yeah. Remarkable, vocally talented. Yes. Like I don't know what's more remarkable at this point, her voice or her writing style or her ability to convey the writing style. It's like, which one do you want? Because she's got all three in spades.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like she's one of those people who can do all three. It's kind of like you're talking about the Meth and Mary song, right? Like it's a song that does all of the things that you would want in a love song, right? And it's kind of appropriate. Like they're both tenuous love songs, right? Mm-hmm. They're both in. I would say that the I'll Be There For You or What You're All I Need is more romantic for sure. Like it's more more loving,
but it's more rooted in the relationship being active and alive too.
Right,
the relationship is active and alive.
Right, and the other one's not really.
Yeah, Joni's relationship is over, and if it's not over, she's ending it on this song.
Yeah, it's
if it's not over, she's ending it.
Mm-hmm. But the cool part of it is that you can sort of hear her figuring that out as the song goes on. Mm-hmm. Like
it's almost
it's not like it's over at the beginning of the song, but she's realizing it as it goes.
No, that's what I mean about it being kind of cathartic too, because it's almost like the revelations are coming as the words and the emotions are pouring out of her. And as it goes along, I think she's even in the deeper realization, and that's vocally where the change takes place. You know,
right?
And it's also one of those things too that it, I don't know the process of how this song was recorded, but because of the things that she did vocally, distinctly, it would be interesting to hear the story about if that was intentional or something that happened organically and naturally live. Because you know, just music recording history is full of those impromptu moments
that it just comes out that way.
We think are scheduled because we're so in love with the moment. And this sounds like something to me that it's like she may not even planned emotionally where she was in that third verse to do all that fluttering and all that and all the staccato. And that was the word that I was looking for. Yeah.
I mean, it's like she's processing. Should I, like the first verse is kind of like, this is the inciting moment, right? I'm telling you what's happening, what's just happened right now. We got in a fight. I went down to the bar, right? Like that's
that's simple.
And then the second one is her kind of going over, like, well, should I go back to like that kind of thing, right? It's she's kind of processing, like, I'm a lonely person, like I'm a lonely painter. I live in a box of paint. So she's like, not exactly taking some responsibility for it, but like she's like saying, was it my fault? I mean, there's some of that
she's
in there.
She's at the bar feeling rejected. She's at the bar feeling rejected.
And then the third verse, she gets into that's where you get the story of what your family members told me or something like that. And you're like, and that's where she ends it, right? So it's always like, it's like, if your family is telling me this, then probably, like, if should I be in a relationship where your family's telling me I should be prepared to bleed for this? No.
Now let's stop for a second though. So let's look at the context of it though, because the way the story plays out, argument with boyfriend, goes to bar, starts telling drunk stories about how family members don't like him either. You get what I'm saying about how you can play this song a few different ways?
Yep.
Because you can just play it out on some real what they used to call them on the Slims, on some real slack jaw yokel type stuff, and been like, no, redneck love, drunk and left, got drunk at the bar, started talking shit about a family member that she had a conversation.
That's a country song right there.
Drunk at the bar. You get what I'm saying about how you can freak this song? Like you can freak this song into like this drunk, lonely girl at the bar that gets drunk and starts talking about the drunk family member and is literally fluttering and stuttering her words at the end of the song. This girl, like Joni Mitchell's a genius.
Yeah, she's like.
And where would you place her as a songwriter, Andrew? Was my real take after listening to this record, because
she's
for me
way at the top. Like she's.
I was about to say, as a songwriter, I've always felt like Stevie Wonder was the best songwriter.
But Stevie Wonder is like you can't see my hand. It's way above the screen. Like he's.
But
Stevie
in
Wonder's,
her, I saw somebody capable of doing the things that Stevie does with songs on different levels, which means she's really, really high.
Yeah, like even I would say the reason she's so high on this list is that for the same reason that Stevie Wonder's really high on this list, and Prince is really high on this. Like those people are way high up on this list.
Creative aesthetic
is that they're creative, but there are very few people who have the voice and the lyricism, both. The melodic part,
no,
right?
You're right. No, you're right.
Dylan's got the lyrics, but he doesn't really have.
The voice.
And there's a lot of people that do that. I mean, we've talked about several of them. Tom Petty, Springsteen, like those guys have some lyrics, and at least in some of their songs, but like their voices are not Joni Mitchell's voice.
It's not.
Or Stevie Wonder's voice. Stevie Wonder's voice is like, if it's not the greatest of all time, it's certainly way up there. Like it's.
How about this? I tell people that if God has a voice and a vocal tone, it belongs to Stevie Wonder, and that's
like,
what I
love listening to him. Like it's just.
Yeah, his voice is the closest thing that I would consider to be something that should be deified in terms of what you hear on earth. It's the closest thing secular-wise that I would deify. That's what I think of his voice.
Yeah. No, she's Joni Mitchell is in the.
But she's in that wheelhouse.
In that wheelhouse. And there's not many people, even like Lennon McCartney kind of thing. Melodically, they're geniuses. Harmonically, they're geniuses. Lyrically.
They're not her vocally.
They don't have the vocal chops that she does. And there's not very many people that do. And there's very few people that have both. The lyricism and the vocal chops.
So this is what my takeaway, because I had a feeling that you were about to say that. I was thinking to myself, I'm like, who is her male contemporary from her era? Because I can't think of anybody that can write and sing like her, except for Stevie and Prince. Off the top of my head,
Stevie Wonder would be the one that has Stevie both of those things.
So if we're comparing anytime you're comparing somebody to Stevie Wonder, they're legendary.
Yeah, for sure.
Period.
Yeah, for
Period. Sure. Period. So if Stevie Wonder is her comp, that would make her, in my opinion, arguably the greatest artist in her genre, male or female.
Yeah, she's certainly way up there for sure.
Right. So because I'm just going to be honest with you, like, of the songs that we've listened to, Tom Petty's my guy.
Yeah.
From your side of the songs that I've listened to, but who I am impressed by the most, and it's not even close, is her.
Yeah, she's incredibly
and
skilled.
It's not even close. Like if I was like ranking the artists right now that we've covered, from your side, she would be first. And we've already talked about Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, Bruce Springsteen, Paul McCartney, and John Lennon.
Yeah, that's rarefied air.
That's what I think of her as of right now.
Yeah, it's she's something else. Maybe we'll have to come back to her. She has obviously plenty of great songs. Like
no, I want to double back around on her because also too, how I got familiar with her is through a rap artist on an R&B song off Janet Jackson's album.
I didn't know that.
There's a song called "Got Till It's Gone."
Okay.
Janet Jackson has. Q-Tip has a verse on there, but it's from Joni Mitchell. The whole sample is from Joni Mitchell's "Got Till It's Gone."
I think that's the "Don't Know What Got Till It's Gone" on Paved Paradise, Put Up a Parking Lot. Is that what we're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah. That song's called "Big Yellow Taxi," and it's one of her most famous songs too. The Counting Crows did a cover of it like 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
The Counting Crows cover is where I remember after that. But on the record, and everybody from from my community knows this, Q-Tip is on the hook going, Joni Mitchell never lies. Joni Mitchell never lies. That's how it goes. And it's
cool.
The Joni Mitchell sample. Go listen to Got Till It's Gone by Janet Jackson off the Velvet Rope when we get done.
I will do that.
Yeah, Got Till It's Gone. That's how I got acquainted with Joni Mitchell. Andrew, you know what's crazy about that? That's why we were in high school together.
Mm-hmm.
So I was getting acquainted with Joni while we were working on The Mirror together. Yeah.
Oh, for real?
The Velvet Rope came out Janet's Velvet Rope came out while we were in high school, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah. So around the time when we're doing all the yearbook and newspaper stuff is like, yeah, that's the first time that I had really heard who she was.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Q-Tip and Janet.
And I want to talk more about this a little bit because we're going to do Tribe before much longer too. My favorite band is REM, who's from Athens, Georgia. They actually have two songs that have hip hop artists that feature on them. KRS-One is one of them, and Q-Tip is the second. So, and we'll talk more about that later. But
I'm familiar with both of those records.
Yeah, they both Q-Tip and KRS-One on those particular songs amplify and bring up songs that otherwise are not super great, honestly.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Tell me what you're going to say.
No, I had a just quick question. It was just like on some rap shit. But go ahead. No, I want you to finish your thought.
No, that was the whole thought. Like the KRS-One song, or the one that he's on, is called Radio Song. It's the song that comes on right before Losing My Religion on Out of Time. This was 1991. And then the other one's called The Outsiders, the one that Q-Tip does kind of like the outro sort of too. And
familiar with REM? That's our era. Yeah,
we'll definitely spend some time with REM because that's my.
I was actually about to say, you picked a whole bunch of stuff that it's like, I got introduced to like REM, Smashing Pumpkins, Nirvana, No Doubt. That's the shit that I know, like from our era. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like
so we threw back a little bit, but like
no, it's cool.
But like,
cool.
And we'll get into Nirvana very soon, actually. But yeah, it's.
What do you think? What do you think about Kurt Cobain vocally and songwriting wise in relationship to Joni Mitchell?
He was one of the people that I was going to name. Like he came
to my mind.
A
and
voice
I didn't want to know if I was
that people. Again, I don't want to get too much into Kurt now because we're going to talk about Kurt in the next one, I think. But people, when you first hear it, or when I first heard it, when I was 12 or 13 years old or whatever, I heard it being screamy a little bit, and it does have a very powerful voice, but there's a whole lot more melody to it than I thought the first time. Like when you go back and listen to it, he is melodically really good. His song, like his lyricism, is not storytelling in the folk kind of tradition. It is like kind of a series of scattershot images, sort of, that kind of come together to make a mood.
Snapshot storytelling.
Yeah, but vocally, he's amazing. As a songwriter, he's amazing. He has another one of those voices that immediately when you hear it. We can kind of function this as kind of a teaser for the next one, actually. Because the next one we're hitting, can I say what we're doing next? Is that fine with you? The next one is two apology songs, Miss Jackson by Outkast and All Apologies. The most famous of which is from MTV Unplugged. Their MTV Unplugged, Nirvana's MTV Unplugged.
Apologies.
Yes.
So him vocally to me, remember I was giving Joni Mitchell a Nas comparison,
right? In
hip hop. So Kurt Cobain to me vocally, rock him.
Yeah.
Throaty, nasal, otherworldly. Like where's that coming from? I know that like it's that it's different, but it makes you question where is it coming from? Like where is he from? Where is that coming from?
And he wore like really super baggy stuff, like many layers and stuff like that. He was a tiny little white guy. And he was a heroin addict too. We'll get into that too, I guess. But that's not really
Yeah,
But
I was about to say we got to touch on it because the music kind of like dictates that we have to touch on it.
yeah,
right?
Because he references it, right? So
Too much.
But yeah, he's one of those guys where you're, and Joni Mitchell's again another one of those people that you're like, how is that voice coming out of that person? Like somebody that size and that looks like that should not be able to make those sounds. And like you see Method Man and Mary J. Blige, and you believe those voices can come out of those people. Like,
well, Method Man 6'4".
Yeah.
So when you hear that booming, like velvety baritone out of like a 6'4" husky guy, it's like, no,
that fits,
legit.
right? Like it's
right, legit. When you're hearing like Kurt Cobain singing, you're like, this dude is like 5'6", $130.
Yeah, he's
right.
a little guy. But
yeah, he might not even be 5'6".
Yeah, I don't know. I'll look it up between now and when we do the next one.
5'6". Yeah, I think he's 5'6", about $130, $135.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I don't know how exactly to wrap this up. But we have I guess decided that Joni Mitchell is one of the greatest songwriters to live.
Right. I just just for me, when we talk about the greatest in your genre or in my genre, it is typically the males who tend to dominate.
Right.
And so one of the things that I wanted to highlight was that, I mean, you got somebody like Joni Mitchell that may pop their head out, and she really might be better than all the guys. And so
she's really good.
So we need to give that credit when that occurs too, because it's already not skewed in the ladies' favor. And so when somebody like her comes along, we, for what we're doing and what we're even choosing to do in this vein, we need to be more emphatic about highlighting Joni.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons. And I'll just say this now. I mean, and Andrew say this, we did this show 2 days ago, and I woke up the morning after and I asked him to scrap it. And the main reason I asked him to scrap it is because I did not feel like the Joni Mitchell segment that we did was good, mostly about me.
No, and my mind wasn't very good either. And I went back and listened to it. And it wasn't great. And we might put this like somewhere else, like later for our outtakes, in 10 years or whatever. But there were lots of things that I said this time that I wanted to say that I didn't.
Right.
Then too.
Well, I just woke up. I woke up feeling like I hadn't given her proper justice and due for who she was too. And that's what it was about for me. It was like, no, I didn't give her due. And I didn't do it properly. And so like, we're going to do it again. And, and so this is more of a reflection of putting her where she belongs in musical conversations, because the conversations surrounded around her song today have involved Stevie Wonder and Prince and Kurt Cobain.
Like the ones that are like way up at the top of the...
Like everybody we talking about is at the top of the list. And so I'm going to say that again. If we're talking about people at the top of the list in reference to her, what does that say about her? Right.
She's at the top of the list too, yeah.
She's at the top of the list.
And she should be.
And we got to speak of her that way, because just truthfully, and this is what I mean about how it's problematic even on this side. Oh, I'm taught to uplift Mick Jagger and Bob Dylan.
Yeah, me too. Us too. Like, yeah.
Right, but I'm not taught to uplift Joni Mitchell.
No, and she's something special, and she needs her props too. So shout out Joni Mitchell.
Right. So, this is opportunity when we're doing these things to maybe uplift and put some of the people there who already belong there, but like actually like really place them there when we're talking about them. Right. So that's what this was about to me when I went back and started going through our stuff. But also I started digging on some of her stuff too. I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, she's super, super special. Like,
yeah, she's very talented.
Greatest ever conversation, top 20 artists who ever lived and walked this earth kind of special. So talk about and treat her as such. Yes.
Yeah. If y'all haven't listened to her album Blue, which is the album that this song comes off of, you should go back, and I might even put a link to it. That'll show up here below of us, or put a link to it below the video or whatever. You should listen to the whole record. It's extraordinary.
I'm going to listen to it.
Yeah. It's really, really, really good.
Oh. I feel it's like required reading out of me at this point.
Yeah, it's a good. While I go listen to the Janet Jackson song, it's good evening music too. It's good chill, because all of the songs are pretty laid back sounding too.
Yeah, go listen to "Got Till It's Gone." Quick Janet point. since we're talking about brilliant, all-time great female
for sure.
To close out this show. I had a moment the other day because I was going on a Janet Jackson kick where I pulled her up like on my YouTube music and I just started kicking some of her stuff out. Do you know that like she might be the only person who has more verified bona fide hits than her brother?
For real.
If you actually go look at it. Like if you go, I'm talking like verified bona fide hits. The only person that's actually touching Mike as far as verified bona fide hits
is his baby sister.
It's his baby sister. Because if you like, I'm talking about the stuff that hits the charts, not the stuff that people love in music and in the annals of music, but it's like if you actually go look at who has made the hit records, we're talking about Control, What Have You Done For Me Lately?
It's a long
Nasty,
list.
Pleasure Principle, Rhythm Nation, Miss You Much, Black Cat, Love Will Never Do Without You, That's the Way Love Goes, Escapade, Anytime, Any Place, If, Throb, Again.
Wow, it is a long list.
Yes, Got Till It's Gone. I'm missing records right now. That's what I mean. It's just like, no, her hit list looks like her brother's hit list.
And that's
what I mean about how we have to start speaking about things and like really contextualizing them the right way. It's like, no. People look at Mike's catalog. It's like, oh man, Mike is the greatest thing ever lived. It's like, man, his sister catalog is like right there with his.
No, I think Janet, not to get too far off this, but like, I think Janet has not gotten her proper due after the Super Bowl thing, and which was not her fault at all. Not even a little bit. So she is not spoken of in the same way after that moment, and she should be. Like, she is one of the greats.
How about this? If we're talking about a live show, I think her brother's the only other person live that can rock a show harder than she can as far as like off the records. Because the records got a certain pace and a certain feel to them too. It's like most of her great records aren't like these. Like she don't got no "I Will Always Love You" as her greatest love
There's
song.
no slowing down much. Yeah.
Right. She don't slow it down much. Like her slow it down is Anytime, Any Place, which is like just like straight like I don't even, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's changing the emotions of the crowd. Everybody's going home after that. And so she's special too. Right. Everybody's going home. It's like, oh, she's wrapping up the show because we're ready to go home now. Taking my wife home. We're done here, Janet. Like, thank you.
Yep.
We're done here. Yeah.
We should just cut it off. We're done here.
You Want This with MC Light? That's what I'm saying. Like, the hits are everywhere. She's got all types of stuff. Yeah. The stuff that she's done with Missy, like in the later days, the stuff she did with JD, like towards the, like, have I ever told you I danced with Janet Jackson and her dance her dance crew? So the last time she was on tour, this is when she was dating Jermaine Dupri. Her show was in Atlanta. I used to work in a restaurant called Dolce. You remember Dolce? This is around the time my daughter was born.
Yeah.
So Asai is still a baby. Asai is probably like, Asai is 15 now. So this is when Asai is about 1 or 2. I used to hang out when I got off work at this coffee shop called PJ's in Atlantic Station. PJ's used to have a live DJ on the weekends and stayed open till about 2, 3 in the morning. So when I be getting done about midnight, 1 o'clock, it's one of the few places I could go and chill for a second and unwind. We go in there one night. It was one of those rough nights. So it's about 7, 8 members from my staff that went in there. I was with this kid named Delrick. At the time, I think I was 26, 27. Delrick was 19 years old. This kid could dance, Andrew. Like, he could dance. We used to tell him, it's like, you need to be on tour, like dancing with your life. Like, get out of this restaurant and go get your drink. We're sitting in the VIP section of PJ's, which, by the way, is just only 2 tables in PJ's were the VIP section. This little small coffee shop. But we're sitting in the VIP section, and Delrick is sitting right next to me. And it's late. We're faded. And he's like, yo. He said, I think Janet Jackson just came in, Coop. I said, yeah. You're high. We got to get you home. I was like, you got me feeling bad. I was like, we got to get this motherfucker home. He just talking about he's seen Janet Jackson. He's tapping me. He's like, no. He's like, Coop. He's tugging on me. You know, and keep in mind, I'm only 26, 27, but he's 19. So he's like, losing it and grabbing on me. And I'm like, what? And he points, and I look over, and in coveralls and a little hat and like one of them little halter tops covering the coveralls and all.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Is Janet Jackson and her dance team that just got done with the show and came into PJ's. And PJ's was small. There was one little area to dance. And Janet Jackson and her dancers are about 15 feet away from us dancing. And my guy is losing his mind. And the other people I'm with, it's Janet. So we're shook. Nobody wants to move. Yeah. So guess who had to make a move, Andrew? Right. So I'm like, fuck all that. I'm like, we're not seeing Janet Jackson again. So I get everybody up. And so for the next
this is your
hour,
chance, right? This is the chance.
This is the chance. I'm telling them, I'm like, we're never getting Janet again. So I get up and everybody follows me and we go over to the dance floor with Janet and her dancers and we all start dancing. And so the next hour is us and Janet's dancers on the floor together. And this is a true story. Never had a conversation with her or nothing. We were all just like kind of talking shit and gigging with each other for about an hour on the dance floor. True story. And she loved my guy, Delrick. He could dance. She told him that he could dance. I'll never forget that. That made his life when we walked out of there. He's like, did you hear Janet Jackson tell me that I could dance my ass off? I was like, no. I heard her when she said that. I was like, because she didn't say much, but she said that. I heard that.
Yeah.
And it was just peace. Me and my people, we wasn't tripping. We was like, yo, we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you. She gave us a hug. The dancers gave us hugs. We went home. And I want people to understand this too. That's how stars want to be treated.
Yep.
Like that was Janet Jackson in the spot. We didn't do shit but go over there and dance, kick bobos, and we called it a night. We didn't do no extra shit. We wasn't all like, and none of that. It was like, no, love you, appreciate you. So happy we got to dance with you. Definitely telling everybody that I ever meet for the rest of my life this story and have a good night.
Killing a giant audience now, right now.
Yeah. No. This is going to live. This is one of those things. This is actually the first time I've ever really told this story live, actually. Most people don't even know this story has ever happened. You have to know me to know that this ever happened.
Like, I've known you for 25 years and I didn't know this was happening.
I got all types of stories like this. This Janet story is one of the better ones because it's Janet Jackson and that really happened. My boy Delrick. And when I mean we're dancing with Janet Jackson, I mean my guy Delrick and Janet were dancing. Because he about the only one that was good enough to dance with her. We were dancing with the rest of the dancers. I didn't want that smoke.
No, she's another level dancer too. Like
she's another level. No, you seen that out on the floor tonight. She's another level dancer. I was like, Delrick, you dance with Janet. Go ahead. This is your moment. So we just gigging across from her. Yeah, but that happened. I got plenty of stories like that. It's just, ain't too many people Janet. So
yeah, Janet's on a whole different world.
Yeah, that's another stratosphere. But she was super sweet and kind to me and my team, and that's really what I remember about her. She was super kind and sweet to everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. She's always seemed like, just from a distance, seemed like a really genuinely nice and kind human being.
Well, let me tell you something. I've taken care of Jermaine Dupri a couple times too. Give me Janet, and she's way bigger. That's what I mean about some of these dudes with their egos.
Oh yeah, no, Janet's a whole different like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like you said, like her brother's one of the only people that's like on the same level as that. Like.
Yeah, like I said, her level belongs to people who belong to the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Prince, Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Joni Mitchell, Kurt Cobain. Like she's somewhere else.
That's a different
world. So when you get to dance with her and her dancers, like you do that. Because guess what? Guess what? She hadn't been on tour since.
Oh,
right. She hadn't been on tour since.
Yeah. That's actually a fun place to end. Like I dig how you like brought it back around because now I don't want to say I was trying to decide whether we can leave the Janet story in or not. I mean, I know we definitely keep it, but like put it like in a separate video somewhere. But like you brought it back around, so now it stays. It stays now. I'm
gonna wrap it back around for you, brother.
I appreciate it.
Hey y'all, I wanted to toss in an outro here. So make sure you like and share and subscribe and comment. That helps us with the YouTube algorithm. It helps us make sure more people get to see this. So if you think it's valuable, if you are down with what we're talking about or whatever. So if you do that for us, that'd be awesome. We appreciate you. See you next time.